Good afternoon, everyone. So it's outside. We'll just give them 2 minutes to come. And I would say I'd like to keep this 20 minutes as interactive as possible to you. Put in as many business cases. Would not try to talk technology at all. Okay, so a quick background about the company. Progen Business Solutions, we are an 8-year-old company. We're ex-Fargo guys who started this. And we are primarily have been in what you call conventionally business intelligence since 2003. So been a good long 14, 15 years today. We've been doing nothing but data, and we have seen how data has primarily moved from the way old generation reporting used to happen. And today when customers talk, behind words, deep learning, neural networks and all. So I'll try to stay away from all these words. We'll try to be as much practical as possible. So, but then I thought before I go forward, let me put some definitions in place so I'm not getting confused with few words you've been listening for last 2 days here. So as you see there, I just thought, what is business intelligence first of all? To put in simple layman term, it's about reporting, charting, visuals, whatever you think. But then, what is this AI word? We already had business intelligence, market intelligence, now we're talking about artificial intelligence. So some gentleman very nicely put it through, I just took it from the internet. So it's about business intelligence only tells us, what happened. And a business today is eager to understand or to ask the right question that what will happen next. Very interesting question. So it's like an astrology, right? It has become astrology now. And yesterday, in fact, I'll try to put more customer anecdotes here. I was talking to one of my customers who is, they may be a Fortune 50 company, second or third largest computer manufacturers in the world. And the analytics head was asking me, we were doing an assessment of their requirements. High analytics, I can put it. And he was asking, Rahul, looks like we're entering into astrology. I am not clear what I want. And what you're talking is so tangential. So indeed, that's what is happening in today's world in business. Let me be very open and frank with you. I'm not going to, the disclaimers are there inside, which you may have to forget once you move out of this room. So we'll just try to stick to now. We are just talking about machine learning. But when will the machine learn? My first question is that when there is data. And indeed, there has to be lots of data. And lots of data. And there has to be a lot of supervised learning before it becomes unsupervised learning. Guys, and it's not only data, there has to be quality data. Because I come from a field where I would have done close to, I would say 125 proof of concepts over the last 8 years, across 100 plus business cases. That's what we do day in, day out. We would have done 30 plus installations in 7 countries. And these are all large companies where we work with. Believe me, the user is as confused as all of us are sitting over here around big data, machine learning. The clarity has to be brought in by consultants, have to be brought in by companies, by people like you and me to tell them what it really means for them. So as you see, machine learning and deep learning, so actually, to me, people use machine learning / deep learning, but so think of, they go hand in hand only. So deep learning is where I put in more, where your neural networks, cognitive, high-end stuff comes in, where you want the machine to start learning in more detail compared to a simple machine learning algorithm which is there. And what is machine learning doing today? Let's take a step back. It's a very nice statement. Machine learning is allowing companies to reimagine and re-engineer end-to-end business processes with digital. Indeed, a huge part of machine learning today is happening around digital transformation. There is a huge part which is happening which we do not know. Banks are doing many things which are happening right from the way their websites function, the way they capture data about you, unknowingly, knowingly, your banking apps which you carry with you, Citibank app or StanChart app which you carry with you. So under the digital transformation, there are a lot of things which are happening today when it comes to machine learning, implementation of machine learning in such cases. Now coming on to an interesting visual here. See, that's where we see today customers, they gradually evolve and they move forward. So, everyone wants to be in the extreme right side, a bot happening, telling them, the immediate accuracy, in terms of the forecast accuracy, in terms of error rate. So as you say, if I do a basic prediction or a basic analysis, the amount of error rate may be humongous, but as you move towards more accurate algorithms, where a bot or a robot, what we say, effectively takes over, the accuracy significantly goes up. These numbers are only as true, as I've been reiterating, as the data is available with you. It's all about the amount of data which is available with you, the quality of data which is available to you. But interesting fact, and to my knowledge, and my knowledge may be very limited, maybe based on my experience, my perceptions, I would say 85% of companies today are only working in the 1, 2, 3, 4 quadrants, maybe 90%. And that's a fact. Some of the departments may have gone towards a bot-driven thing, a chatbot, RPA, but they do not reflect the complete business of an organization. If you look at a complete end-to-end business automation by using machine learning, deep learning, or whatever new generation technologies we talk about, there would be not more than 10% companies been riding on those waves, and those 10% companies would be who are highly effective in capturing data, where the variability in data may be relatively lower compared to companies, where the variability is very high. So I thought, let me look at few things how deep learning and machine learning, according to us, when we go to customers, is transforming their business. So interesting, self-service to bot service. This is what people look at. That's what is happening today. BI used to be your buzzword. All of you who would have been here would have been said self-service analysis. People want to move forward, and the biggest way they're looking at transformation is through bot service. Can there be a bot, a small bot, which can be made intelligent, and can that bot be then moved to do some job for me? So I'll talk about old Oracle days. I used to work, that was year 2006, I can say. That's where Oracle acquired Siebel. So we used to have this OBI, which came up after that. That time itself, we used to have the concept of bots, because those bots were nothing but automation of emails, alerts. So I'm not saying bot is a new concept. We've been hearing about bots since 2006 in the world of BI. See, it's all about the research agencies which have to give it a new word every year to us. CIOs have to spend more money, and we have to have a livelihood running somewhere. So bots have been there, but the way you want to look at bot, it has changed today. So when I say a beautiful example can be, I was reading in the newspaper, most of you would have experienced this. ICICI Lombard, I think, sells X number of policies every day, every month today through their chatbots only. So what they do is, because the process is so stable and predictive, please note this, the processes have to be stable and predictive, that they have enabled to a certain extent, using chatbots and robotic process automation, things which have taken away the job from the field agent or a call center agent directly to a chatbot. But what happens when there is a tricky question? It goes back to an agent. So the machine has an element of intelligence, but the moment the customer asks something tricky which the bot does not have in its dictionary, or like Siri, most of us use, right? So my 4-year-old plays with Siri a lot, and he asks stupid questions. And what Siri does after 4 times, Siri will say, okay, sorry, I don't understand this. So the machines are intelligent. I'm not saying they're extremely intelligent, but the user's demand have to be sensitized what a self-service to a bot service can do. Very typical examples of whatever you see here, robotic process automation. As I talked previously also, I go to customers, and they talk about automation. And there's indeed a lot of automation happening today. Indeed, if you look at from a machine learning, deep learning perspective, 2 industries who are leveraging heavily on that are banking and insurance, heavily. Banking industry is doing a lot of automation around the basic task, mass emails, communication, in terms of procure to pay process. See, procure to pay process in the industry is always outsourced. Look at companies like Jaguar Land Rover, Ford, General Motors, Toshiba, big companies. They may be processing 1 million invoices every month. And for 1 million invoices, they would have been hiring a lot of agents sitting with big companies like Genpact, WNS, all the big names out there. But what's happening today? So these companies like Genpact and WNS themselves are developing interesting automation softwares where once the invoice comes into you, the reading of that invoice with whatever accuracy again. Let me tell you, the accuracy will never go beyond 60 to 75%. That's another thing. So loss of job is not happening 100%. I am trying to tell you every time. And for going this 25%, there is a validation also which is happening after that, because you are paying a supplier. There is a risk of paying your supplier, which is more or less than the amount which the guy has invoiced. And these formats which come from suppliers are extremely funny. Let me tell you, this is extremely funny. I was speaking to a leading company, and they said the suppliers never buzz by sending an invoice in the format they decide. Why? Supplier says, "Bhaiya, पहले ही मेरे से सारा discount ले लिया, अब invoice भी तुम्हारे हिसाब से बनाऊं क्या?" Suppliers will never listen to you. They will give the invoice, they want to give it. You can say EDI, everything, blah, blah, blah. There is a portal where you can upload. Yes, you can upload, but the format of the invoice will be decided by the supplier, and these suppliers can be supplier who is supplying 100 rupee to a supplier supplying you 1 million rupees every month. So the challenge is accuracy in terms of automating whether a ERP transaction, repetitive task, and moving next. See, there's a difference between automating and augmenting. AI is doing a wonderful job of augmenting decision making. Automation takes a decision. Augmenting defers it to a human. So AI is extremely helpful and is helping today machine learning and deep learning indeed, where various decisions like should I issue a credit card or not. For instance, we work with one of the largest telecom companies in Asia Pacific. So they want to do customer behavior models, but the decision to issue a SIM card or to issue a new plan is still left to an agent who is there to take care of it. So we tell them using various deep learning algorithms that what score, if a Chinese in the age group 20 to 25 years who is claiming to be a driver has come to go for a SIM card from you, using the past behavior and the patterns of Chinese, what kind of risk I foresee. The system can tell you based for this, what is the risk associated by issuing a SIM card to this guy and to what kind of credit limit you can issue to him. Same thing is happening today in the world of credit cards, all the places where there's a risk element you want to look at. Now, moving on to next things. So I'm quickly moving between business areas, applications, so maybe a bit confusing, but I thought let me cover basic business cases. This is where we personally feel today customers come back to us from a business perspective and say, hey, these are places where I would like to personalize customer service. I would like to improve my retention and loyalty. Retailers are today using a lot of this data where we work with them in terms of reducing their churn, increasing their loyalty, sending the marketing campaigns to the right, to the right guest. So for example, a hotel, it's not always about retaining a customers. What I believe machine learning can do is delighting a customer. So assume you're walking into Novotel or you're walking into a 4 Point, and then you go inside and assume the person who is just going to check you in gives you all the information what you basically like about a hotel, right from the flowers in your room to the travel desk arrangements which you have been doing with them, to the kind of food which you look at. I'm talking about super luxury hotels. That's actually happening today. But the problem is, we go to a customer and we give them all the stuff. Is the customer ready is my second question. Because most of the time, the customers, at least I talk about India and APAC customers, US is very far off, but the reality is I work with those companies and the reality is not much different. They may be very advanced in few areas, but not everywhere. The customer at times may be too busy with their operational areas, operational tasks of achieving the revenues and targets. Yes, they are having chief analytics officers, they are having chief data officers, but the amount of data, which again a hotel kind of industry, is too big that who takes the decision where machine learning and deep learning has the capability to deliver a good customer loyalty and retention solution, but are they willing to go, and is the amount of data which is required to achieve that and the quality available with them? Now, moving on to other areas, I talked about procure to pay, automating finance, detecting frauds and leakages. It's a very interesting area. Frauds, all of us know, but machine learning and deep learning can help you detecting leakages to a very larger extent, whether it is leakage in your spend department, whether leakage is in your revenue department. A lot of leakages can be actually controlled. Supply chains, all of us, people would have talked about this. So I'll touch upon few interesting areas which we come, that what is the barrier if so many benefits are there and all of us are willing to fly away on this journey or, take this jet of machine learning. What is it that organizations really and we believe are challenges and barriers? See, one most important thing which I've been talking is quality of data. The quality of data in a typical enterprise, whatever we say, we have all the cleansing mechanisms. 65% to 70% of time of each organization who wants to embark on a journey of deep learning, machine learning, is spent on getting the right data in place. And that's the first and foremost biggest challenge. You have been sitting on a data warehouse or data lake, whatever buzzword we want to use here, storing 10 terabytes of data or 20 or 100 terabytes or petabytes of data. Getting the data out, first of all, who has the knowledge with the right granular level is the biggest challenge, and the quality is second biggest. Use case identification, I talked about a hotel. This is, all the industries you go to, this is where consulting plays a very critical and significant roles. One interesting job within the big data industry is combination of how do you identify the right use case which will be relevant, pertinent with the big machine learning and deep learning technologies we are talking about. Because the way a customer loyalty, if you look at, is looked at from a healthcare versus a grocery retail versus a pharma retail versus a white goods retail, it keeps on changing. So for a single specific algorithm, the biggest challenge is to work with the customer, get the use case identification in place. Once this is done, the second problem is prioritization. Because these projects have to be funded internally by the project sponsors, project managers who are senior guys. How do you prioritize them? And that someone said yesterday or today, I was hearing to them, it's all about, can you help me in maximizing revenue, reducing cost, improving operational efficiency, or retaining my customers? These are the 4 key areas which businesses look today. Can you help me in doing this? So everything in this industry is becoming outcome driven. Those days of just having a fancy ML algorithm running in and telling you, boss, I've got this ML thing with you, no, that does not work any longer. If you have an outcome driven business case, it basically helps you. I'll just go there. Cultural barriers, interesting. We've been talking in the morning a couple of times that job losses, how people look at machine coming and replacing you in taking some decisions, augmenting your decision. A project approval for a machine learning project is not as easy as we think, because there are political barriers internally. Someone thinking of losing their job, or not only losing their job, their headcount under them getting decreased, and today's world, that becomes a biggest deterrent for going into, and it's not that the project may not happen, it always happens, but the kind of justifications you have to give, ROI justifications, cost justifications, because of cultural barriers. This something where organizations have to realize, change management has to come in. Gradually it is coming up, but still it's a big area. Friend or foe, interesting. So I was reading an article, interesting one. We try to automate everything, but have we ever questioned who automated this and for what purpose? Organizations, I also run a private company, I may automate it for profit maximization. Profit maximization is not always the job of a company. There are a lot many other variants. And you can always say you can configure other models like corporate social responsibility and lot many things. But the problem is AI is such a complex thing, neural networks, that it is like a black box, right? It's too difficult to go back and challenge and question the algorithm which has given you the results in terms of how it processed it. So who coded the algorithm with what mindset? And what is the end result it is giving? Is it favorable to everyone in the organization? That's a very important question people in the Western world have started asking. That is it only about profit maximization, cost reduction? Is it only about one side angle? Or is this algorithm also doing benefits to the employees in the organizations? Because all of us are employees to one or more organizations, different ones. So we have to think about human aspect. And that's where it's a friend or a foe. There has been a debate which has already been started around AI in different forums. Sorry. So very quick one, I thought I'll not go much into it. Various things all of us know. It's just very informative, what all things clustering to fraud, whatever we do or other companies do. with different areas. And interesting things are happening around recommendation engines and early warning systems. Those are very interesting areas where we believe, machine learning is happening. And this slide I just want to touch upon because the generic one when we go to customers, it's all about sensitizing your end users, your customers, what are you going to get, what is going to happen in each stage, whether data preparation happens, the model selection happens, the features have to be selected right. Once the features have been selected, you have to develop it, fine tune it, deploy it, upgrade the model. So it's a complete life cycle. So indeed, if you look at this, the jobs are getting created actually, because they're becoming more dependent on you. And these models are not just one model. There may be hundreds and thousands of models which will be getting created. So, which is there, I thought, let me stop here and open it up for a Q&A. So, that's it from my side. Any questions? Or was it too boring after the lunch? Yes.